Hello everyone and welcome back to part 2 of this video series where I'm going to be showing you how I replaced the windshield on my old Glastron from 1978. In the first video I briefly showed how I removed the original windshield, and during the process I realized a couple of things. The first one is that the aluminum frame is actually quite complex. There are a lot of custom shaped parts involved, which means we are not dealing with standardized aluminum profiles, and that makes it pretty challenging for me to recreate everything in aluminum, especially since my tooling options are somewhat limited. As you can see, I also took initial hand measurements to capture the windshield's dimensions. However, both the windshield and the cockpit feature multiple angles, meaning the mounting surface is not a perfectly flat horizontal plane. And because of this complexity, I chose to not only rely on those manual measurements, but decided to also scan the entire cockpit surface to ensure that the new windshield fits precisely and without any gaps or misalignment. So because I decided to actually scan the boat, I had to do some research to find a scanner that can actually scan such a large surface, preferably with one scan rather than multiple smaller scans that you then have to put together in a post-processing step. So in the end I ended up with a scanner from Creality. It is the Otter that I actually picked because it is, in my opinion, the cheapest scanner that can actually handle large surfaces. I was also considering the Raptor, which is a bit more expensive. But nonetheless, in the end, I went with the Otter because this one claimed that it can scan surfaces from 10 times 10 millimeter up to 2 by 2 meters. And the width of the boat is around 1.50 meter. And then you have the depth, which is, let's say, another meter or maybe a little bit less. We have the height is a little bit more irrelevant because we just need the surface scanned where the windshield will be placed on. So yeah, that's what I got. So I actually purchased the Otter and used this one for scanning the boat. Another thing you have to keep in mind are the hardware requirements that come with the scanner. And here's a list of what Creality actually recommends for each of their scanner. And if you look at the Otter series, they say it's recommended to have an RTX 3060. In my case, I do not have an RTX. It's just a regular laptop to be mobile, and it just has an internal graphics card. And when I scroll down, you can see that the lowest supported requirements are just some RAM, CPU, but a graphics card is not mentioned. So for me, that means that the scanning won't crash. It just means that the live image of the scan, so what the scanner is actually capturing, this image is not as smooth and is a bit laggy. So that's what I experienced. So it wasn't the case that the scanning process crashed. It was just not as smooth as it would have been, as it would probably have been with an RTX 3060, but it still worked, so it was fine. So in the beginning I added these markers because I thought that I will actually need them, but to be honest I did not really figure out how to use the scanner with those markers. So it's just it was just a pain, because usually you do a first scan, so the scanner captures all the markers to get a coordinate system, and then you do a scan after, so he uses those markers as reference points, but it just didn't work. It didn't get the markers, and it was just a pain. So what I did was I just tried the normal mode. I can show you the settings later. And then I just did it in a way where the scanner does not need those markers. I still left them on, but you can see here on the sides I don't have them. And it was just super quick. In 15 minutes I had scanned the entire cockpit. I was worried a little bit that I need a lot of light because this scanner actually works with light and captures pictures. So I wasn't really sure because we don't have any lights here on the top, just little softbox here. But actually, okay, this one was very well lit, but even when I got to the more shadier regions like this one here, the scanner just kept going and just scanned everything, so it was really insane. Yeah, so that was it. So I just found out why those markers didn't work with the scanner. It's because those are not really scannable markers. Although they were labeled as reflective markers for 3D scanning, they're actually not reflective, because I bought a couple of different markers in different sizes from different companies, and now I just compared them and I found out that these guys actually work, and they are like a little bit silver metallic looking, so they are reflective. Whereas these bigger ones, they're just plain white. It's just like a printed dot. So that's the first thing. They just don't reflect, so the scanner could not actually capture them. And the next annoying thing with those guys is that you won't get them off properly. Look at this. The glue sticks to the paint or the gel coat, whereas maybe here on the door it works a little bit better, but it's a pain. So the scanner actually took 15 minutes, but now it will take me probably 1 hour to remove all those dots. Very annoying. I think what helped a lot is that the surface that I actually need is white. So usually scanners capture white areas very well. Once it gets dark, it's not as easy anymore. Or the scanner, the Otter, actually, it just fails. You can see it on the scan. So for example, the cup holder or the gauge meters, they are just not really well captured, as well as the shifter. I was a little bit worried about the reflections that you have on the white piece, so I bought a powder to just be 100% sure that it will capture those surfaces. But actually, this little bit of reflection on those white surfaces wasn't a big problem, so it just scanned all the surfaces.
So here we have the final scan. So yeah, it's still the raw scan, but already cleaned up a little bit. You can see here are still some noise going on, but Creality's raw condition means that once the scan is finished, you have this sort of point cloud. So it's just some dots, still not connected. We don't have a triangled mesh. And then once you have this raw scan, you can click on this Fusion tab and you can actually choose the resolution and some noise reduction, whatever. It's not really clear to me what this does. You can also put the resolution down. I think I put it to 0.6 millimeters. Now it's set to 2. But once you do that, you click apply, and then you have your fused port, your fused part, where the point cloud is then, I don't know, it's just connected and you have more resolution apparently, so it's somehow calculating and between those points, and then you get this nice looking surface. I really like the middle window here. It has some really nice details. One thing I can say about the scan settings is that I used large objects. So this one, you have, I think, 3 modes: small, middle, and large objects in Creality. I first tried the small object, but actually it just lost tracking. So for example, if you start in this region and you try to make your way all the way to the side, already after a couple of centimeters it lost track, and it was also the case with the medium option. So I put it on large, and then with the large option, this whole thing just got scanned very, very quickly. The problem with the large scan is that you reduce the resolution, but for me it's just totally fine. I did some measurements, so here you can make some quick measurements, length and angle, and I compared some measurements to my physical measurements that I took when I removed the windshield. And yeah, it aligned quite well. So I'm quite confident that the scan is, or that this scan has an accuracy that is enough for me. So once you hit mesh, you can decide the number of triangles and then also some smoothing. So if you can see this, you have a really bumpy structure. If you click on smoothing, you can actually reduce this noise. And yeah, once it's meshed, you get this mesh tab here, and this is actually the one with triangles. So you can see I actually applied a little bit of smoothing, so it looks a lot cleaner than the scan itself. Another interesting feature of this scanner is actually the texture part. So the scanner is also tracking the texture of what is scanned, so it can also apply colors to the scanned parts. So here you can actually see the raw scan. You can also see the markers that I placed. Again, I did not use those markers in the first run. I tried it, but then I realized that they are not reflective, so pretty useless. But in the end, that is the second setting that I used, the markerless setting. It still worked quite well. So for this project, I didn't really need the markers. And yeah, once you have this mesh object, you can actually export it, and then you have an STL file, and this STL file you can then use as a reference to create the frame. Another feature that is available under the mesh section is actually aligning the model. So somehow, once you click on this button, the software already recognizes some of its geometry and aligns it to a coordinate system. You can see that pretty much it somehow realized that this might be the top. So when I go to the top, it's actually the top. When I go to the front, okay, that's actually the back, not the front. But nonetheless, it somehow use some of its features to automatically align it, and then you can still fine-tune it. It's an interesting feature, but I think to be 100% precise, you should do this in your preferred CAD software, not in this feature. I think it's nice for a first alignment, and then you just export it as an STL, put it into your CAD file, add some points, and then do the precise alignment. Now, as you can see, I imported the STL file into my CAD software, and from this point on, I'm able to use this as a reference to model my windshield frame in 3D. Now, I'm pretty sure that some of you raised the question, why the hell do you need to 3D model the windshield frame? What is the purpose behind this? But to be honest, I will not answer this question because I don't want to reveal too much about what I'm up to. And I will leave this for the next video. So just stay on alert for the next video, and see you then.